It turns out today is the day of the actual debate, so I figured I'd make a political video again. The first thing I want to mention real quick is I saw that the United States seized President Maduro's plane. Venezuela has the biggest reserves of oil in the world. It's also has some of the highest poverty. They say that he violated sanctions. Like, I think he hasn't been exactly the most nice to political opponents, it seems like, but they did allow his political opponent to leave the country, which tells me like they might not have been like as bad as like the U.S. is reporting on it. I'm not into just like saying like you bought planes from with parts that had parts from the United States, or a plane that's from the United States. I'm just gonna steal it. Like I don't like sanctions. I don't like how it works. I think it's silly. So I see down here that Trump made in USA Bitcoin threatens China juggernaut's reign. Oh no, who did I have as the like person that gets all my money in my will? Bloomberg. He was the mayor of New York, right? Like I was going to give it to his charity. Like, why did I do that? Because I was told to. And then my will eventually changed. All right, so does everyone want to print money? Like, is every businessman's favorite dream to be able to just be like, well, I'm just going to print some money. Do we know? Does Bitcoin require a massive amount of electricity? You have no idea how much electricity Bitcoin takes. Like, it's like incredible how much it takes. Why? Because of the nature of the algorithm, because it's so hard to, because it requires processing power in order to create currency. Do I have a plan for a stable currency where like it's not like legit until I hand out enough money, because of the nature of resolving transactions. Like, I'd have to give out a massive amount of money, but like I still wanted to be able to like fully stabilize it, which means it's not fair. Like, it's not like, it's like, well, you guys don't know that I have the ability to print money. Here you go. Like, which means that you have to have enough money put into it, which means that like you need to like pay for transactions. Like, you have to pay for the processing power that is involved with transactions and like all that crap. But like, I'm just saying, like, I don't like cryptocurrency. Like, it's mainly used by gangsters. It's used like so that you can like do illegal transactions. And I'm more for like saying, well, oh, you guys want to do drugs? Well, then do drugs. When I talk about like I was told to give all my music rights and everything to Bloomberg in my will, like when I talk about that, like, why would I do something like that? You don't get these people's technologies that scary. Like, if you're smart, you do what they're told until we figure out who they are. Like, you have to figure out what's happening. Like, if you experience these crazy freaking people, I'm not saying it's them, like, because clearly I'm not allowed to allege that. But some of these crazy freaking people, I'm talking about the people that are that dominant in the cryptocurrency industry. Because if you think about cryptocurrency, it's for selling drugs. And that's how it worked. It's why it worked. Because it's for selling drugs. Apparently it's for selling kids, it's for sex work, it's for bombs, it's for whatever. It's nice because it's portable, and I really do believe in like setting up a cryptocurrency where like it's your savings account basically. And like that, like your savings account can be in cryptocurrency. I'm not the banking regulator that wants to look at your bank. I think you can have freedom. If I just say prostitution's legal, prostitution's legal now. Oh shit. Now like we can just use our money on prostitution and no one will care. Yes. Like that's how I am. Like, I don't care how you spend your money, and that's why I'm not afraid of Bitcoin. Like, I'm for like getting rid of illegal industries. Like, I will stop the illegal industries that are that bad. And the reality is, like, I don't know what to do about fentanyl because everyone in jail is a fentanyl addict. Like, everyone. And so, like, I don't know. I don't think that's exactly how to handle these things. I don't believe in torturing people. And I believe that cryptocurrency can ruin the world. Like, it is so much electricity. And so, like, when Trump's going, well, we're going to do made in USA. Well, Alex is for locally grown cryptocurrency. I think that like we need cryptocurrency being burnt in every single city. Well, that's the last thing you would ever ever say if you're a smart person. Why? Because like manufacturing the cryptocurrency depends on where you are. Like a huge amount of the cryptocurrency is made in like Iceland or whatever. I think because they have so much thermal energy from the earth, like geothermal energy, and they have power plants, and so they have clean energy to make cryptocurrency. That's not as bad. Like transactions, it feels like are probably not the real problem with cryptocurrency. It's the hashing algorithm. And like you have to have a hashing algorithm, and like my algorithm was going to be secret, but then it's like using the like a regular bank almost, but then using the cryptocurrency algorithm for like just a way of transferring currency between people. So according to Trump, China is like the cornerstone of Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin's super confusing because like the Russian media was selling Bitcoin for a while there, and China does make the most Bitcoin, but that's because China has so much coal. Like they don't even think about coal. Like Americans are like really nervous about pollution sometimes. We don't really like coal power plants, even though like we have to have them. Like you have to like kind of just not tell them. Okay, we're just gonna not tell you guys. We have to make sure we have another coal power plant if we need it. But China's accusing the United States government of trying to like overthrow their system through what's called a color revolution, which like I looked it up, and that's like a Soviet era like cultural revolution that was more Western, that like was like that included like what they claim is falsified elections, like so like they were like trying to replace the leaders with their own leaders, and my opinion is like we should stay out of stuff like that, but it doesn't mean that I won't give my opinion, and if your opinion is so into censorship and into like we can't talk about stuff, then like I don't like it. Like if your society depends on everyone kind of just being like I'm not allowed to know stuff, then I'm not going to be for your society. Like people need to know stuff. So you can say like Western ideals are the problem, like and if you're dealing with me, the problem isn't that you're not Western. The problem is that you're not like it might be like theoretically that you're not allowing people to think to like be free people, and like America, it turns out, is actually doing stuff like that too now, and that's why I'm so against it. And so like I've always been against like governments saying that you can't think. I think that we people need to be allowed to be creative. I noticed this guy's was previously the PF Chang CEO. Like that's I know I'm using him as a black guy as an example, but that's the type of person that I need to try to figure out my food system, because I'm someone that really does have to figure out like food in America, and I have to figure out how to do it efficiently, and I have to figure out how to be so freaking smart, and so like I think that I don't know what I'm saying. I was gonna. I don't know why I have that picture on there now. I was just thinking that I needed that, and like, yeah, I feel like I'm stuck now with what I'm talking about. I was talking about cryptocurrency before, and I didn't talk about weakening the dollar because, like, it seems that like generally the opinion is that like weakening the dollar is not that big of a deal, unless like people don't get paid more, because like people really do believe that you should weaken the dollar. Like Ben Franklin argued in favor of weakening the whatever because he was the money printer. That was one of his like how he kind of made his money initially. Like before he was a very simple person, and like he wore simple clothes like on purpose to show that he wasn't wasting a bunch of money to his investors, and he printed money, and like he argued in favor of printing more money, and they did print more money. And so like I do think like weakening currency like is actually that important, because there is a natural like inflation rate that like people kind of expect, which I think is like 5%. But like I also think like Like, maybe not. Like I think like 5%, isn't it 5% over 10 years? Like, I don't know what the is acceptable inflation. Clearly, like the nature of the inflation is when you find out it's not acceptable. Like, I don't give a crap if like if the price of my like something stupid I never buy goes up. Like I don't get my stapler. Like I care if the price of my food goes up, something I'm buying constantly. So like I think we got to find a balance between like printing money and not printing money. And I think that like the concern about like being pro weakening currency, like Trump is right now, and probably JD Vance is that like it's gonna like put the poor people and the people on fixed incomes at risk, because like I said, like Social Security like can become a serious problem because it's giving them such a small amount, and they're all dependent on food banks, and in reality like we need to figure out how to make sure people have food, and that's really what it comes down to, is like people need to be okay, and if we screw up the price of food too much, they're not going to be okay. So I am as much as possible into education reform. Why is that? Well, what was I doing just before like my phone got shut off? I was doing online education classes from Duke. I was doing chemistry from Duke. I was doing Khan Academy. I was doing the RN course. I was studying organic chemistry. I was doing a lot of online classes. Like when I was in grad school, how did I get so smart at AI? Well, I was always learning math, like from University of Washington and from Stanford. And then I went to the tutoring lab, and I found like whenever like I didn't have a student to tutor, because I was a tutor during the summer for writing, and I kept my job, and so I'd always just go to the tutoring lab, and I would go ask them for help with linear algebra. And that's the reason I can do linear algebra. It's not because like, oh, he's some genius, he took an online linear algebra course. No, I went to tutoring. And so like I believe in real people helping you. Like I believe that like a human assisted computer, it has super duper powers, because I'm the guy that did calculus in 2 weeks. Like I did Cal 1. I'd never taken Cal 1. I never took pre-Cal. I did algebra 2, and then I just went to Cal 1, and I did it in 2 weeks in a micromester. It was a college class. I got a C plus or something. And the reason I got that is because like my friend who became a doctor from Duke, who was an engineer at Baylor, he was there during the summer, so he taught me like calculus real quick. Like he'd just come around and be like, well, you got to know this, and you got to know this, and I was like, oh, done. I know how to do calculus suddenly, but I couldn't do the word problems. And so like I do believe in people helping you, and I believe in computers helping people, and I believe in educations that are practical. Like I believe woodshop was the best class I ever took. It was like the only class I took apparently in Colorado when I was a little kid. But like I think job skills are important, and so like when I show this guy, and I say like that guy's a pretty good example of like what we're trying to be like. Like what I'm talking about like is like having an education that teaches you certain things that are that important, even though it's like a general education. Like why can't like that guy's knowledge like be imparted to you as like a manager? Like, because I've taken management classes, like you don't know how important, how helpful it can be taking business classes. Like unless you're a person with a business degree. For some of us, like we don't really believe in a business degree because I know how to do business. I'll beat you at business. But there are things you can know as a manager that make you happier, like that make your employees happier, that make your employees more productive. Like understanding project management is that important. Like it is that hard, and you can teach people things at a younger age. Like I think that probably like people like can catch up. I think we can fix education so it's more practical is what I'm trying to say. I'm for that. So I think teachers matter that much. Like you can't learn things without teachers, but I also think that teachers can be spread pretty thin, especially if we were to say, like, we will allow younger kids to go to school. Like we'll do preschool, public education. That's fine. And when we do that, like we're relieving the childcare burden a little bit. But we're also saying more students for the same amount of teachers if we don't have enough money. But if we were to say, like, we'll have a teacher that teaches more people, and so like she has a computer teaching a smaller class half of her time, or he has a computer teaching half the class half the time, and then the other half the time the teacher's teaching. Like, I think that that's practical. I think that like breaking up education times, like the amount of time you study, is that important. Like, I think like you can do a 15-minute class, you can do a 30-minute class. Like, I think that once you hit an hour, you're pushing it on like how much time you want to teach a kid. Like, I saw this sermon and this guy preached for 45 minutes, and man, he was good for 10 minutes. And like, you don't get like that, like you're screwing up your lesson by going for too long. And I think that like teachers do get that, because they have scientists too. Like, when I talk about like having a business education and thinking that is helpful, like, I'm someone that like knows I can give you so much business education when you're in high school and in middle school that is helpful and interesting, and it makes your education mixed up and it's practical. Because the reality is, like, I need people that work at regular places. Like the number one employer I think in the United States is Walmart. Like, when the number one employer is Walmart, like, you're talking about like a very, very freaking normal job. And like, I'm just saying, like, people are going to have normal jobs. Like, why can't they be better at their normal jobs? Like, why can't things be made better? And like, I think that the more people that know like practical, good information, the better our society is. And like, the reality is that people make their society nice. Like, I can go around and say, oh well, I'm gonna go become president. I'm gonna make everywhere nice. Like, I'm gonna go make certain parts of LA nice. Like, I'm gonna make certain parts of Louisiana nice. Like, I'm gonna make like certain parts of New Orleans nice. Like, and that's not how it works. Like, you have to make your own community nice. Like, we have to help people help their own community. And like, I think that requires education. And I think that like, we need to fix education. So I've been talking about doing trade school more in high schools, like where people are learning to be carpenters, and they're learning to be mechanics, and they're learning to weld, and they're learning business skills. Because like I said, like, I know that I can mix into your education a lot of really important business lessons, and I can teach you like really important things without being political, without having to indoctrinate you. I was thinking about it, and like, the first time I really remember a history class at all that was just a history class, where I didn't have one teacher teaching every lesson, was like my sophomore year of high school. I took world history. And then my junior year of high school, I took, did I take another world history? I only remember world history from back then. Like, I ended up doing AP. Okay, so that's what this was. This was talking about. Like, wait, how much history did I take? Like, I took government. I took economics in San Antonio. Like, did I do U.S. history ever? I just know U.S. history. My dad's obsessed with U.S. history. Okay, so anyways, when we have a more educated population that's educated in a practical way, it makes their education more interesting. It makes it more fun. It makes it so that they enjoy what they're learning more. Like, when we allow them to choose tracks, it makes it so that they enjoy their schooling more. And that's why I'm so in favor of like having a super project, which is like a very awesome online education program. And I think that everyone that hears that goes, the American government making like that's not going to be good. They're not the ones that do education programs. Don't do online education with the American government. What I'll tell you is, like, it wouldn't be the American government doing it. It's me doing it, and it's me working with people that are very smart and interesting, and me trying to improve the programs that much, and me bringing in people that like get paid enough to work that hard to make those programs awesome, like to make them funny and to make them creative. And I think that like, if you can make online education programs, a lot of the classes will last for a long time, or like parts of them. Like, you can, like, we could be using a history class if we have the right teacher for like 50 years. Like, we actually still watch 10 minutes of that class. We'll never not watch 10 minutes of that class. It's too good. And so like, I'm for like developing online education programs through a mega project. I believe in spending that much money on online education. I believe in like changing the world through online education, because I need to change the world. Like, I know I was looking into this Chevy Stingray, and it gets 3 to 4 miles like on battery only under 45 miles per hour, but it's like the craziest engine of all time. Like the size of its engine is actually like I can't remember, it's 6.2 liter. I wonder if I should really finish talking about the Chevy E-Ray, because like I was trying to look into like a really nice car, because I thought, I've proven I'm a sex trafficking victim. Now I'm going to actually get money, and I might have so much freaking money because they'll actually let me like have the earnings off my book, and like because I worked so hard on that book, like they might let me play a concert. I could just play a concert and suddenly like I have enough money to like live. Like I could go get this freaking car. Well, it goes 3 to 4 miles at 45 miles per hour, and that's cool. And like and then it switches to gas, and like I looked at the engine. The engine's 6.2 liters, and the engine's 381 cubic inches by volume versus like a 2 liter, which I can't see the number on it, but I can just guess that it's like 120 like cubic inches, like, which means like it's the size of the engine. And so the massive amount of this engine is trying to prove that we can make this car go so fast. But then it goes 3 to 4 miles, which is what I think 3 to 4 miles, like I could almost go to like the library or the store and stuff. But like in reality, I want that engine to go 10 to 20 miles on electricity at like even 60 miles per hour or 45 miles per hour. And then like I want it to switch over to a 4-cylinder engine that I don't care how fast it goes. And I want my car to look awesome. And I want it to actually be comfortable inside. Oh, geez, don't tell me that. The moment I said that, probably Chevy went, you don't know, that car's not actually comfortable inside. Like you've never driven in that car, and you're probably right. Because that's the reality of that car. Like, but like I do think we can make cars that look cool, that are running electric engines and gas engines, and I think they could be plug-in hybrids. And I think that's like probably as far as I want to go with like that. Like why doesn't this one have more batteries? Why doesn't it have more range? Because it has to be lightweight. Like it still has to be so fast, and so batteries weigh a lot. And so like they could have put a lot more batteries in there, but they didn't. And so like I'm for changing like transportation that much. Like if you haven't watched my other videos, you should go watch my other videos. Like I'm for changing the world that much, like so that we can live without gasoline until but we're still gonna have ethanol always. So like that car could be an ethanol car. It could be a battery for 10-mile car, and then it switches to ethanol, and it doesn't go as fast. It doesn't have the premium gasoline that it requires. Because I'm kind of against premium gasoline cars generally. Like I don't know for sure because I'm not an expert. Like I haven't studied how to make gasoline.